Hi everyone, I just want to make a quick update, as promised, because Faye and I are flying back to California shortly. Faye is back to normal, feeling great. I watched her eat a huge plate of chicken parmesan yesterday. The first thing I should mention is that Faye's father was very reluctant to talk about the cabin, all the weird experiences we'd had there. He kept trying to change the subject, and was generally in a bad mood. Which is pretty normal for him. He's a really grumbly Vietnam vet and has been in the Navy since he was 18. His personality is exactly the way you'd imagine it to be. Faye asked him bluntly, "If something is wrong with that cabin, why would you let us go up there in the first place?" And his response was, "Talk to your mother." So, that night we sat down with Faye's mom, Laura, in her bedroom, while her dad was watching the news downstairs. Her mum was so upset at the stories we told her. I mean, she was visibly disturbed to the point of being in tears. She kept apologizing to Faye and hugging her. Laura told us that they'd purchased that cabin from their good friend, Jennifer, I think. Jennifer and her husband had complained about all sorts of weird experiences while living there. Her husband Tom, like myself, was fond of hiking and exploring the woods, and collected tons of arrowheads and other neat trinkets he'd found on his travels around Pikes Peak. But Jennifer started having dreams about Tom being dragged off into the woods from their bedroom. She had all kinds of horrific nightmares about him being skinned and pinned up in the trees like some kind of macabre artwork. Jennifer said that while Tom was at work, she would occasionally hear the voice of her daughter, who died in childhood of some kind of bone cancer, calling, "Mummy?" from the edge of the forest. Jennifer's doctors claimed it was the medication she was on and changed her meds. Tom got a new job in Vegas, and they basically noped out of here. On a lighter note, Tom hanged himself in the garage 2 years after they moved. No note or anything. Anyway, Laura, Faye's mum, and Greg, Faye's dad, only used the cabin as a getaway in summers. Laura never experienced anything beyond weird feelings while she was there, and she choked that up to all of the crazy stories Jennifer had told her. Greg, however, who suffers from PTSD-related nightmares occasionally, experienced exacerbated sleep disturbances in the cabin. Over the years, he became reluctant to go there, and claimed that all of the things he'd done in Vietnam and all of the things he'd seen in the Navy came back to him when he slept there. Allegedly, the 2 people he killed and some of the people he saw get killed would come back to him in his dreams at that cabin. Last time he stayed there, he woke up in a dream to find a few of them sitting in his bedroom with him, maimed and rotten. He privately maintained to Laura that he also heard their voices in the forests, crying, begging, screaming for their mothers, etc. Oh, and guess at what time he always heard them. Laura told us that she honestly did not believe there was anything really wrong with the cabin. Faye was extremely pissed and let her have it. They kind of ended our visit on a bad note. Later that night, I was up reading, and Faye was sleeping next to me. She always falls asleep before me. That girl could fall asleep on a pile of rocks. She started mumbling in her sleep, so I listened carefully, and here are a few things I heard her say. "Never, never, never, no, I wouldn't. On the mountain. I can't. Why? His name? We don't know you. No, it's Felix. That's my name." About 2 hours later, she woke me up by nudging me in her sleep and saying, "Tell the man in the hall to leave." This set me over the edge, so I got to go to the bathroom and get some water. I didn't find anything strange. I had a very hard time falling asleep though. This morning, we heard back from the guy who went up to the cabin to check it for gas leaks or carbon monoxide, at the behest of a few scrupulous Redditors. The guy mentioned that radon is a really big problem in some of these old places in the mountains. He's some kind of super badass handyman with all kinds of equipment, so he wrangled up one of the peak rangers and they went up to the place together. Apparently, there were tracks all around the house, a dozen pairs of them. Like, a large group of people had been wandering around looking in the windows. All of the windows and doors were sealed the way we left them. When they got inside, some stuff was moved around. The silverware drawer was emptied onto the kitchen floor and turned upside down. The power was completely dead. But the weirdest thing was that there was water all over the bed and on the floor. But our guy checked for leaks in the ceiling and the bathroom pipes. Nothing. Nothing had been stolen from the house. Not even food. Some of the old clothes in the bedroom closet were strewn on the ground, but nothing was stolen. Like, maybe someone was trying them on or smelling them? The ranger said that there were legends about the mountain. Something about things that sort of act like people, but they come out of the old abandoned mines. Greg's friend couldn't remember the name the ranger gave him. It wasn't a native language. I asked Greg to ask the ranger about the sounds I heard, specifically the wachu wachu war my, and he said it's a widely recognizable chant, but he doesn't know what it means. Anyone here have any idea? No radon, no carbon monoxide, and no gas. The place is all electric. He checked for mold, but said it was unlikely that there would be any all the way up here. He did say it's possible that there's some kind of electrical problem, and that this can sometimes cause people to feel very unsettled and maybe have hallucinations. He has some kind of Geiger counter or a gadget that detects issues like this, but it was broken when he tried to use it. I'm going to keep a close eye on Faye. She's still shaken up about all this. If there's anything left to report, I'll let you know. We've begun hearing voices outside our home. Faye is really upset and feels that I might have exacerbated these strange circumstances by giving them widespread exposure online. I'm going to go dark for a few days and see if that helps. Don't worry about us. We have a few close friends looking out for us. They know the entire story.